Where are you on the list here? You're it looks like you are. Oh, I have to go back to the people and find you. Make you a presenter because I don't. You're
Yep, that's
up
it.
here.
Participants, and then
Yeah.
if you want me also to go to your desktop for a sec, Anthony. Let me have a look at your desktop app.
Well, I think am I sharing the screen now? I think I am.
Yeah, you are. What I'm saying is we want to see what your desktop app looks like. Go there, right at the bottom, where it says number 1. Can you see?
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Click there. Right. Click on the left one. Okay. So click on the calendar on the far left.
Okay. I promise everyone we'll get started in just a moment.
That's all right.
Esam, I already make you a presenter.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I can see that. But what I'm saying is, Anthony, why can't you join using that join link there?
Well, I'm in. Oh, you mean and use the desktop instead?
Yes. Yeah. What happens with that?
Well, it didn't work before, but I can try.
You click on
add this device
or transfer to this device.
Transfer to this device.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see what happens with that.
And then I can drop the web.
I hope so. Yeah.
No. See, this is what I had before. See?
Yeah, but that's fine. You have to click on audio on the top, or that's not going to turn on. That's
there we go. There we go. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's what happened.
That's all right. Cool. Anthony, you might need to unmute yourself and put your camera on. Oh, gosh.
Okay, ready to go for real this time.
There you go. There you go.
All right, much better. Apologies, everyone, for the delay, but I think Mike and Dan and Ronaldo were having a philosophical chat to take care of us in the pre session here. But why don't we get ready to get started? Welcome. Dr. Anthony Basil, and we're going to welcome Esam, who is our presenter today, our guest speaker. I'm going to put the recording on with your permission, Esam, and everyone else. And here we go. The meeting is being recorded. Yep. Okay. Now it's acting funny. Okay, there we go. So I'll do a quick share the screen and put on just a really quick intro PowerPoint slide and have the text chat open here on the side for everything. And where is the text chat?
Back 1 sec.
Yep. No worries. And there we go. So now we have the live text chat going. People are welcome to put their questions into the text chat, and we'll be happy during the presentation to pop any of those questions into Esam and have a dynamic discussion. Today is 26th of March, and we welcome all of you to our Learning Zone event. A couple quick housekeeping things. We're going to ask people for now, if you don't mind, please, to turn off your videos so that while the presentation is going on, to help us with the bandwidth a little bit. But once the speaker's going, If you have questions and comments, please have your microphones muted. We'll do the questions and comments into the text chat, and then at the end we'll open up microphones if people have any comments. What we do is have the recording going, so please make sure that you are working with us on keeping your permission. And we do have a special prize, so take a look at the tinyurl.com Learning Zone prize, all one word, or use your smart phone scanner to get to our little interactive activity at the end. And this, we were going to bypass the trailer today. You can have a look at on the YouTube link if you like. I'll put the slides up in the text chat so that you have an opportunity to do that. Today, we've already met Ronaldo, I think, for next month. So we're going to be having our April speaker ready, and we're looking forward to that. And Esam is about ready to begin. Thank you so much for spending the time. I know you've been so busy today. I attended your event earlier, Esam. It's great. Oh, we've got Petra is with us as well. Fantastic. And at the end, we're going to do our Q&A. Please try to remind me to do that slide. But just as a quick reminder, if you do the survey, you have a chance to win the prize. And I think I saw that Andrea was in the text in the participants today. Andrea was the one who won our prize. She got that prize in the post today, and we were looking forward to see who will be our prize winner. So do the survey, please. And without any more ado, I'm going to pass back over to Esam. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much. To tell you the truth, I was wondering what I should title this presentation. And what inspired me with this title, which is, what is the point of technology if it's not meant to make your life easier and better, is this device that I bought for the household a few weeks ago. Can you see that? What is that, do you think?
It's a robot vacuum cleaner.
Correct. Thank you very much, Anthony. You have to give the person a prize for that. Okay, so basically, and that's what's inspired this title. What is the point of technology if it's not meant to make your life easier and better? And this presentation today is a couple of anecdotes that's happened in my life, but also things that I've seen on TV, all right? And it really does focus mainly on accessibility, all right? Something I'm very, very passionate about because I've seen the potential of technology to transform lives, and I've seen it in my classroom, and that's what today is all about. So with that being said, and as you can see, subtitles, very, very important underneath my PowerPoint presentation. How can I be talking about accessibility if I'm not going to be delivering an accessible experience? So with that being said, let's move on. Some facts here, right? So there are approximately 1 billion disabled people in the world, right? That's around 1/7 of the world's population. In Europe, 1 in 7 people of working age, which is between the ages of 15 and 64, say they have some form of disability. This can include having difficulty performing specific tasks such as walking, reading, lifting, listening, typing, and it also includes general health conditions such as cancer, bipolar disorder, or arthritis. Okay, believe it or not, in our classroom, 70% of disabilities are invisible. But what's so interesting is that online, those disabilities disappear. They are invisible, okay? So over here, you can see I'm a teacher, and I've been a teacher for the last 20 years, And I can tell you that we've got every type of student in our class that has one of these, you know, or more disabilities. If just in case we have, I'm sure, more than 12 men in this meeting, and 1 in 12 men in the world are colorblind. I know I am. Are you? I'm sure. Statistically, I'm sure there's going to be more than one person. And what's interesting is only 1 in 200 women are colorblind. All right. So I'm sure you deal with students that have dyslexia, that are hard of hearing, that have bipolar. So, and what's so interesting, in the UK, I mean, that's quite a lot. 20% of people in the UK have some type of form of disability. Okay. So with that being said, just to give you the big picture about this, okay, I believe that with the right tools, anyone can do anything, and that's everyone in every context, all right? So this is such an interesting and lovely quote from the IBM training manual, and it says the following: for people without disabilities, technology makes things easier. My robotic vacuum, right? For people with disabilities, technology makes things possible, right? So with that being said, I want to share something with you that I saw on ClickView, a program on the BBC.
Okay. Can you see it?
I'm sorry.
About 6 years ago, at the age of 16, Maisie was diagnosed with a brain tumour.
Sorry.
Over the next few months, her vision was reduced to a tiny, blurry circle in her right eye. Well, Maisie had agreed to try, on stage, the latest version of these Give Vision goggles. They use magnifiers and augmented reality to amplify the wearer's remaining vision and highlight outlines. So, Maisie, are they working?
Yeah, I can see your microphone, and I can see that you're smiling, and I can see the buttons on your shirt.
What? Can we have the house lights up, maybe? Take a look at the audience and see. Can you see them all?
Yeah, they're waving.
How
I can see there's a lady in the front with a red jacket. The guy next to her is wearing stripes. Oh my god, it's so amazing.
Okay. So you said one of the things that you
Sorry.
you're getting me going as well. One of the things that you said you really miss is reading.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone here. Would you, I don't know whether this is going to work, do you think you'd be able to read us just the first couple of sentences if I hold the microphone up? Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That is the power of technology potentially to transform lives. Now, this boy here, not one of my students, a student in my college, City of Westminster College. I saw him, and you know, before that point, I was introduced to an app on the iOS operating system. Okay, it's on your iOS. So if you've got an iPhone, have a look at it. It's called Seeing AI, right? I'm not sure if this is charged. Oh, I've only got 2%. Let's have a look. And basically what Seeing AI does, and basically it was developed by someone who works at Microsoft that is visually impaired, that is blind. And he developed this app. And what it does, It uses the camera on the iPhone to describe the world around them. So basically, you can point the camera to someone and it would describe that person. If they're smiling, if they're angry. It would also describe the environment that they are in. If you take out some money, it will tell you what note that is. I'm just trying to find it here. In the meanwhile, if someone does have an iOS.
Petra's put it up on the text chat for us, Esam. So we've got the link.
You've got
there.
the link. Okay, very good.
Yep.
So I gave it to this boy, and basically before that point, his learning was inaccessible. When I introduced the app to him, and I don't know him, I just see him around college, I stopped him and I said, listen, I'm a teacher. This is my name. I want to show you something, and basically introduced him. And I was recording.
And you can configure it with your iPhone, by the way. So basically, you can say to your iPhone.
So after that, I saw him about 3 weeks later, and he said, oh my God, sir, thank you so much, because now he goes into his lessons, he points the camera to the teacher's notes, and he's able to read out everything that the teacher gives him, as in terms of text and handouts. So his life was transformed with a simple app called Seeing AI. And this is what really inspires me. It's the potential power of technology to improve people's lives, and in some cases, transform them. So with that being said, here's another example. This app is called Microsoft Translator. This is in Parents' Evening. This gentleman that you see who's holding my phone is the English GCSE teacher called Daniel Barnes. The lady that you see in front of him is the mother of one of my tutees. She's Italian. She doesn't speak much English. So what we did is we got Microsoft Translator, and it was translating in real time. And Daniel over here is speaking to the mother, saying how naughty her son was, and she's nodding her head, understanding every single word. All right. And that's the whole point of technology. If it's not meant to make our lives easier and better, what's the point of it? Right. So that's Microsoft Translator, real-time text and speech translation. Here's another example. It's called the Immersive Reader. And the Immersive Reader is integrated within Word, Edge, and it's also integrated within OneNote. And it's probably one of the, I think, most impactful technologies to support people with dyslexia. If you've never heard of it, you definitely need to have a look at this. So I delivered some training to a group of learning support assistants about all of these accessibility tools and features. And this particular person, and I got the quote from this particular person, in the middle of the session, she stopped and she went and called her son, who's got some type of autism, right? And she said, I've just discovered something that's going to change our lives. So let's hear what this quote is using the Immersive Reader.
I have a severely autistic son who is verbal but cannot read or write. However, he has amazing visual skills and can type anything he wants into a computer and find whatever information he needs. He likes to listen to superhero books and gets us to read to him online while he puts his finger under each word. This learning tool with Office Lens could totally transform his life as well as ours. He would be able to read by himself, and I'm sure with his visual skills, he would be able to memorize words and build up his reading vocabulary. Also, it will make him much more independent. I'm so excited by this. Thank you to whoever worked on this.
Okay, so that is the Immersive Reader there. Let me turn on the camera again. Right. And here's another example. I have one student that has a range of different learning disabilities. He gets a headache and eye strain reading black text on a white background. So what we did is using the browser, and the Immersive Reader and learning tools is integrated within it, we were able to change the background and it would read out web pages, and his learning experience was improved. Okay, just really simple examples of how technology can have an impact, right? Here's another example. A student walks into my lesson and he fractured his knuckles and said, "Sir, I can't, type." So what we did is we got him a microphone and we used the dictate functionality within Word for him to complete the work. That was his first time he ever used dictate. It worked very well within the class, but because it was a noisy background, he went home and trialed it out. And what he told me was that he was able to complete his work much faster. Okay, another example of how technology can improve people's lives. Really simple example. Here's another example, right? We had a student, this is before the world of COVID, by the way, what we refer to as BC, before Corona. So, we were using, there was one of the students of this tutor, she fell pregnant and wasn't able to carry on to the second year of her course. So the tutor was speaking to me. I said, no problem. I said, we've got Microsoft Teams. Why can't she carry on to the second year of her course? So with that being said, I walked down the stairs on another day and I saw this scene and I said, wow, I need to take my phone out and actually record what's going on here.
Your mummy's been very busy. Very busy.
He's just in his own little world.
And this student, she's an art teacher. This student, her artwork was just spectacular. And it's just another example of how we were able to use technology to support this student so they can carry on with, their studies, okay? Really simple examples. Here's something that is quite, staggering in terms of these stats, right? Now, this is the JISC, which came out with these figures, I think it was last year or the year before, and it says only 15% of higher education teaching staff said they use assistive technology in their roles, compared to 17% of FE teaching staff. That's a staggering number. When we have all of these things right in front of us, why aren't more educators taking advantage of these tools and features to make their lives easier, but also to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment? Why not? So at this point, I'd like to share with you a story that happened to me about 3.5 years ago. So about 3.5 years ago, I was invited to the Microsoft offices in Paddington, which is about 10 minutes away from my college. So this college is on the Edgware Road. Paddington is just around the corner. This was about 4 years ago. So they invited me and basically they were telling us about this new product called Microsoft Teams, right? And they were telling us how wonderful it is. And I knew what Microsoft Teams is because I had to play about with it. And I said, what a wonderful tool this would be, but for staff collaboration and communication. I did not see a reason why I should introduce this into my class. Why? Because I teach my students face to face. I was saying, why would I introduce another layer of technology between me and my learners? We had Moodle and we had a whole host of different tools. So that's really what my thinking was. So what happened was a few days after this event where I was invited to Microsoft, I went back to college. And when I went back to college, I had a eureka moment. I said, oh my God, actually, Microsoft Teams would be a fantastic solution to break down the barriers in communicating with my learner, who's called Kabir, who is hard of hearing. Right? I said, wow, this could be potentially transformative. So with that being said, I'm going to share with you this story, and it was captured in a video. It's only 2.5 minutes. And this video will tell this story so much better than I could ever.
Everyone has a voice, and I believe everyone deserves to be heard. The way I teach needs to take into consideration everyone's needs in my class, including Kabir's. The truth is, I can probably sympathize with some of the students that don't communicate with Kabir before teams. To communicate with him through the signer is a prolonged process. The very first time I introduced teams in my class was really a special moment. I stood back at that moment and my eyes were fixated on Kabir because I knew that this would have an impact on teaching and learning, especially with Kabir.
Kabir is really patient, he's focused.
I would describe him as very smart.
Whenever I need help, I just write his name, Kabir, and then I just ask him a question, and then he just answers back.
I mean, it's probably the two best things in life, learning and diversity. It's what makes this world, wonderful, isn't it? Everyone has a voice, even if you can't speak. Teams has given Kabir a voice. He can have his voice heard, and he can contribute to the class. And most importantly, I think it's given him dignity.
We can't hear you, Esam. You need
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
What I was saying is that was one of the most profound moments in my 20 years of teaching, introducing teams in my classroom because of an accessibility need. And what I found was that when I introduced teams into my class, this boy, Kabir's life was transformed, and he never stopped communicating with me. And believe it or not, that was the very first time he ever communicated with his classmates. Imagine that. They were in the class for 2 years. Now, I want to share a quote with you from one of the classmates. His name is Jasper, right? And he says this: in our class, we have a classmate that has problems with hearing. I cannot communicate with him personally because I do not know how to communicate with him with sign language. When Teams was introduced to us in our lesson, our class became more social, which is in a good way that will all help each other. My classmate with hearing problems messaged me after a day that Teams was introduced to us, and we were discussing on how we can make improvements with our assignments, which was the first time I ever talked to him. Teams has given me the opportunity to make a friend without even talking in person. And that is what's made me so passionate about improving people's lives, my students' lives, using technology. So with that being said, I just want to conclude my presentation and say everyone has a voice, even if you can't speak. All right, and that really is what I wanted to relay today. And of course, we have lots of time, and obviously my forte is using these tools. So if Anthony wants, I can now switch this whole sort of presentation to more tips and tricks of the trade. All right.
Oh, but before you do that, I don't know if you're seeing the text messages, Esam, but you got the audience in tears so far. That was amazing. I'm speechless. When you and I were chatting about this presentation, we were saying, share your stories. But oh my gosh, those are great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to share, my story. Yeah, absolutely.
But I know there's some techie people out there too, and some of the lecturers and the students are hungry to know in this digital space that we're all trying to learn in and communicate and share in. Have you come up with any tips to success for us? Do you have anything that
loads.
Oh,
loads. So
well,
you want me to switch gears?
If it's all right with the other people, or unless they have any questions, they want to turn on microphones for a moment before we shift. I think a lot of people are still speechless. Tanya says, "Such a beautiful story. Thank you." And Tanya is our well-being person, so I'm sure she's feeling the emotion too.
Anthony, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, that technology is absolutely impressive. I mean, just fantastic. But unfortunately, there's something that comes with the technology, and it's called a price tag. And the problem is that our society, and I really don't approve of this, but it's just a fact, is that it doesn't spend very much money, effort, or anything else on disabled people. It spends the minimum it can. So we're in a jam. Can you guys help with this jam?
Dan,
yeah,
we've already paid for Microsoft Teams. The college, Regent's College already pays though. We've got all the facilities already inbuilt in OneNote, in Word.
I think what Dan is saying, I think in general, as in a societal problem, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that doesn't come free in Teams. Please, come on.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point, and Dan, I think one initiative that we're trying to do with Regent Higher Education College is a project where we are providing the students with the laptops. And it's a new initiative. We're working on getting the distribution out, but I think that's going in the right direction. To give the learners, to give the stakeholders the tools to at least get started, to at least be able to have a common specification to work from. But there's so much more we can do.
The technology is fantastic. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely wonderful.
I think if you don't mind, Esam, before we slide into the other part of your talk, a point that I put in the text chat was that what struck me about your presentations were the pedagogy of it. You had individuals, you had students that were having a specific need. The driver was maybe physical or emotional disability, something that was preventing them from having that equal opportunity to learn from the other people. And that from that, you took your knowledge and your experience and brought in possible technological tools to impact and make a change, be an agent of change for their lives. And I think that's got to be one of our guiding principles, because too often it's the other way around. The technology is the driver. You know, an organization will buy a license or get some kit, and then all of a sudden now we have to change the way we're teaching to accommodate the limitations of that particular system. And that's wrong. The tools, the technology should work for us. And those examples that you gave were just, you know, absolutely fantastic. And we have some other people, you know, putting in comments in the text chat to support, you know, the first half of your talk. But if people don't mind, let's slide into a little bit of tech stuff. Apologies that I had was you know, technologically slowed today to log in, but if people don't mind, rather than finishing the presentation side, you know, right at 6 o'clock, we try to keep it in an hour. If you don't mind, if we go until 10 after, and then from 6:10 on, you know, if people want to stay for the after party, they're welcome to. So is that all right with you, Esam? I don't know what your schedule's like.
No, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, can go on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brilliant. So
yeah.
so we'll figure another 20 minutes for this half of what you have to chat about. And again, people, please put in your text chats. Microphones off for the moment, please. And then if you do have questions, you know, we can turn the microphones on. So take it away for part 2, Esam. I hope I'm not going to cry, you know, more in this one.
No, this one is very practical. So basically, I'm really changing gears here. This is more practical tips and tricks. And hopefully you'll come out with just 1 or 2, you know, tips and tricks. Okay. So with that being said, I am a big Microsoft 365 user. All right. And the reason I'm going to go back to that first quote that I shared with everyone. What's the point of technology if it's not meant to make your life easier and better? And more importantly, reduce your workload and engage learners. So that's my philosophy with technology. And that's why I think I'm very passionate about it. So with that being said, let me tell you my predicament, okay? So even the world before Corona, what I used to teach for 2.5 days, right? And when I teach for these 2.5 days, I teach 2 units, one called Unit 8 e-commerce and one called Unit 28 website production. Now you can imagine me teaching for 2.5 days, 2 subjects, and I had to repeat myself for how many times? 4 times for one unit, 4 times, and for the other unit, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 2.5 days. And now you can imagine, by the way, I teach in further education. I teach in an inner city college. We get problems with punctuality and with attendance. And unlike universities, we have a responsibility to get our learners through, right? So even if they don't attend, it's still our responsibility, believe it or not. So it was getting really hard for me. And, you know, it was affecting my mental health that I had to repeat the same content. And imagine at the start of the lesson at 9 o'clock, I'm saying, this is what we're going to do. I go through 20 minutes and then I get a student that comes in half an hour later and I'm supposed to go and support him. And after half an hour, when I say, OK, get on with your tasks, I get half of the class saying, sir, can you show me how to do that again? All right, so that's my dilemma, right? So I said, you know what? No more of this, no more. I said, I need to become creative and innovative, reduce my workload and also engage my learners. So this part of the presentation is about my passion in the use of video to support teaching, learning and assessment. So I will give you an example. Exactly. So I teach, as I said, Unit 28 website production. Now, over here is a tab called Unit 28 videos. So what I did, and I did this about 4 or 5 years ago, is I converted all my live lectures into videos. So instead of me saying, good morning class, how are you live? What I did is I recorded that, so I didn't have to repeat myself so many times. I want to share with you some stats behind this, right? So look at these stats, and this is the website that I got it from. So basically, by me recording my live lectures as a video, obviously I reduced my time in delivering it. But more importantly is this. We have students with a range of issues. They can't come to college because of health reasons, or they're looking after their parents or work commitments, whatever it is. And if I didn't really record these sessions, they would have lost out. And just as importantly, our learners learn at different speeds. You know, that's obvious. We all learn at, you know, we're at different rates. So basically, the best thing about this approach to delivering my teaching and learning is that the students can go at their own pace. So let me share with you some feedback with regards to this, you know, strategy from the students, by the way. And I've got, this is just a small sample of the feedback that I got from my learners. And it just goes on and on and on. It really does. And this is just a small sample of the feedback that I got. Look at that. Modern day teaching at its finest. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the most suitable form of delivery for everything. You know, Anthony, 2 weeks ago, I think a couple of weeks, said, you know, this is for procedural knowledge. Do you know, this is a really good strategy. But for discussions, it may not. So you need to decide what, you know, at what point do you use video and at what point you don't. So with that being said, let me go back. So this is what they call a stream tab. And if you've never heard of Microsoft Stream is basically your corporate YouTube platform. If you've never seen it before, you definitely should have a look. So if you go to office.com, and just click on the app launcher and go to stream, what this allows you to do is it allows you to host your video securely. So consider it as your YouTube, your corporate YouTube platform. What's fantastic about this platform, it's multi-modal learning. What do I mean by that? I upload a video, right? And it generates the transcript here on the right. Can you see that? So it generates this using artificial intelligence, and with my accent, it does about 90% accuracy. The beauty of this is this, that you see this search box here, or this search here, I can now, my students do this. For example, they've missed a lesson and they need to do a specific thing. So they can search for these keywords, and what that will do is it will search through the videos where those keywords were mentioned. So basically now my student can jump there and it jumps to that specific part of the video.
To do that. So I'm going to go through this process step by step for you. So let's do that. So what we need to do is we need to jump into office.com. Once we're in office.com, we go to the app launcher and we navigate to lists. If you don't see it here, click on all apps and then navigate.
And I do this on a Sunday evening, and I create one video and I'm able to distribute it to all my learners. although I'm teaching online, this works so well, because what I've started doing is this, is that I've started delivering, believe it or not, asynchronously using synchronous methods. You're probably wondering, what are you talking about? So basically, I deliver live sessions just like I would normally, but within those live sessions, they get to watch this video.
Over here,
and what I do is I'm there in a supportive role. So if any of them are stuck, then I'm there to answer their questions. And basically, the advantage of this is that they are able to rewind and go at their own pace. And that is, in my, in the last 5 years, one of the most impactful things that I've done in my teaching and learning. Okay, all happy with that? Move on. Right. So the next thing that I started doing is basically I get students to self-assess their own work. What do I mean by that? So I'm assuming that you've heard of Microsoft Forms, and what Microsoft Forms does, let me show you an example. Wow. Okay, here's an example. So basically, I use Microsoft Forms to reduce my workload. How do I do that? I create Microsoft Forms as a survey. And basically, I give this out to students. And this has something called branching. What is branching? Branching is just another word, I would say, for differentiation. What does that mean? If I click on preview, you can see there's only one question. It says, I have created social media pages for my business. If the answer is yes, they go to the second question. If the answer is no, what happens? A calendar input comes up and they have to say, I will complete this by. So they go through a series of questions, and the idea behind this is that they are creating their own smart targets and they're taking responsibility for their own learning. So where it says, and I can have a macro view of where my learners are. So I can see that 32%, thank goodness, have done, their social media pages. They've customized it. Oh, there's 5 that haven't created a Microsoft list. So what I can do is I can click on more details and I can identify those 5 people that haven't done this and chase them up. But the idea behind that is that they go and create their own smart targets in OneNote, right? So I'll show you what I mean. I've got permission to show this boy's work. So if we go to Mark here, and this is the class notebook, by the way, look what they do. So in the tasks, they create their own smart targets based on that form. So anything that they said no, then they do it within the class and provide evidence. And that's basically how I'm able now to, capture learning and also reduce my workload. Because, as teachers, we've got a lot on our plates. So what we need to do is we need to take advantage of this technology to improve our lives and make things easier, and at the same time also engage our learners. So look what this person did. Write everything you've completed in this lesson, 3 things that you have yet to complete, and everything is captured. If you asked me, I want to see Mark's lesson review in week 13. Look at that. If I want to see his lesson review here or here, it's all captured. And that is basically how I try and take advantage of these tools, as I said, as I keep saying, to make my life easier and better, and also to engage my learners. And that's just really the it's just the we're not even, you know, going into depth in how we can take advantage in using these tools, because there's so much more there. And obviously I don't want to, you know, spoil your Friday evening, but I think that's where I'd like to stop, if that's all right, Anthony. Yeah.
That is super stuff, Esam. Every time I do a webinar with you, I make notes and I learn more things, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And we've only touched, you know, just a little bit. I know
the surface. There's so much.
So many more things that we can do, but you know, again, it's more about the instructional design, the pedagogy, the way that you are choreographing the journey, you know, the e-learning event. I always tend to think of it more in process rather than product. And what I would strongly encourage everyone that's involved, whether you're a student or a lecturer or just someone, a guest from industry, is that when you're thinking about communicating, whether it's like a face-to-face scenario, like in a classroom, don't think that you have to change, anything that you're successful with in your regular classroom to this environment. Start with that and try to stay with that, but then explore the different tools that can support that. Now, you know, as you say, it's Microsoft is very powerful, but sometimes, you know, you might be adding other tools. You might be plugging in, some type of voting or polling tool, or, you know, mixing and matching things. You know, in the text discussion, there was some really good comments about learning styles and the type of media that the students react to better. So, you know, what you've given us is just a snapshot, you know, in a very quick, glance, about mixing and matching some of these resources. If you want to stop sharing your screen, maybe we can switch back to the videos now. And I see Mike is feverishly making some notes there in his video. Go ahead and turn on your videos, everyone. That if you feel comfortable with using video, we certainly don't want to force anyone to use video if you're not comfortable with it. But we'll open up the floor if people have questions, any comments. There's a few things that tricks and tips there that I really liked a lot, and can elaborate on as well. But let's throw it out here. Perhaps Ronaldo, your finger is up, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing, and I know how much time it takes to do that. But one of the things I'm quite sure you will agree with, that once you set it up, your life becomes very easy. And I think when we as teachers, I think the problem that we have is seeing how much work, like what you've done, and think that there's a lot, not realizing that in the end, that your life will be so much better once you set it up. Yeah, so I commend you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ronaldo. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That class notebook that you saw, I started that process a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So that means when I distribute my resources, I'm able to distribute my resources to all my groups at the same time. So it really does make my life easier. And don't forget also, it's freed me in the class, because I used to be so stressed supporting each learner. And imagine how frustrating it would be when students come in halfway through the lesson, or I haven't seen them in 4 weeks. that was very frustrating. And, you know, this is what we deal with in FE. But now, if I haven't seen the student for 2 weeks, I just, you know, guide them to the videos and say, go and do this. And they're really able to catch up with all the stuff. So you're absolutely right, Ronaldo. It really is, you know, it makes your life easier and better. And that's what I keep saying to all teachers.
Yeah, I think it is an investment, isn't it, Ronaldo? Because you know that time that you put up front is going to come back to you. You know, it's an investment.
He did say one thing that I think is crucial for educators to understand is that you don't have to run before you walk. You start slow and do what works for you, and then go from there. And I think that's the crucial point, because a lot of times I know as educators, when I see people do incredible things, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. And, you know, it's not that simple, you know, and even if it's just keeping a record book in a spreadsheet, that's what you do, you know, and you do it well. And just since it supports you, that's what's important.
And part of the issue that I think that we're recognizing tonight is training. That you know a lot of the things that you're showing us, Esam, are fantastic, but it's taken years for you to be trained by Microsoft from your experience in the classroom, and one of the key takeaways that I hope that we can pass on to everyone that's here, you know, please ask the management, ask your organization to prioritize this and make the training of using the tools top of the list, because it's like best kept secret. You know, there are these things that you told us are gold dust, and we could be using them in, you know, with the students in the next couple of weeks.
Skip, can I do a shameless plug right here?
Yeah, of course, please.
Guys, please come back on the 30th, and I will show you some of the stuff that I'm doing that's similar, but also I will show you how I am teaching some students in the United States from here, some younger kids, and various other ways and applications and things that I use. So I had to put that shameless plug in. Okay.
No, that's why we invited you, because Ronaldo, we want to keep this community alive, and I know Petra is going to go and like tap into you know, dozens of people that you know are in her network, and you know they'll all come because you know I know you are just amazing speaker too. It looks like Trevor's got a hand there. Do you want to contribute, Trevor?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, one of the things I thought was so brilliant was capturing the students' work. That is so powerful, because not only it's good for me as a tutor, but then it's good for the college. It's basically good for the college anyway, because when we have to evidence learning, you see what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
And it can't just be with, oh, this is what they got in the assignment. You know, this is the process, and this is where they had difficulty. I thought that was fabulous. What you showed me there was just mind-blowing.
Thank you, Trevor. And you know, when you deliver online, that's how you can monitor engagement. How do I know that my learners didn't just log in and they're watching a YouTube video? So I'm able now to monitor engagement in real time using the class notebook. So the class notebook was really powerful before Corona, before, you know, the world before Corona, but online it's even more useful because you're tracking everything in real time. It's really the class notebook is one of my favorite teaching and learning tools. It really is.
Okay. One of the things that I'm going to have to convince the college is because when they set up my class, they set it up in chat, not in Microsoft Teams. And so a lot of the functionality, you know, of bringing in OneNote, having the students have their own special space where they can actually talk to me and I can talk to them without involving all the other students. We just get chat. And that's sort of good, but it's not great.
Yeah, definitely. That should what the team that should be created for you, Trevor, is a class type team. When you go and create a Microsoft team, you get 4 types. What you need is the class type team, because that will give you the assignments and the class notebook.
Yeah, Esam, just to kind of elaborate for Regent Higher Education College, what our situation is that with the School of Computing, and we have different partnerships with other universities. So, for example, computing is partnered with Bolton University. We are using the teams in a limited function at this moment, because we are basically using that for the 3 hours a week where we have, like it would be the counterpart to a live classroom. So we don't have all the functionality of the team's environment. We're using the Bolton Moodle space for linking our videos and the content repository and certain features within Moodle as well. But I think that next time we get you to chat with us, what I'm really hungry to do is to explore these breakout rooms that you were talking about. And I know that I attended your FE event earlier today, and you had set up a breakout room for the JISC presenters. And that is so powerful. I don't know if you could take a moment to tell us a little bit about breakout rooms, but we could finish with that in the last 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So breakout rooms is a feature that the educational community was demanding from Microsoft, because it existed in Zoom for a number of years, I believe. So they introduced that sometime at the end of December, and I can tell you for a fact what happened with my classes and students. Engagement shot up. It really did. And basically, and I'm sure you know what breakout rooms are, it's just a way of dividing all the participants into groups in a online session. And the beauty of this is that basically you can then create collaborative documents. That's what JISC did. They did it with Google Docs. I don't know why they didn't do it with Microsoft Word, but then you can create a collaborative document and each group can collaborate on that document together. So it's just a fantastic way of getting your participants to work in groups, just like you would do in a traditional sort of setting. And it works so well. It really does. Why? Because the students feel under peer pressure to contribute to the tasks. If they don't, they have their classmates saying, why aren't you doing the work? We're all supposed to do it, without the teacher nudging them. And I think that's what works so well, is that peer pressure.
Yeah. Petra asked a good question about breakout rooms, and what if you don't mind, everyone, because I was saying, like 10 after to quarter after, we'll bring the session to a close. I'm going to pause, stop the recording at this point,